Hey guys, hope you're doing well. It's time for our Wednesday night Bible study. We are doing a new series called Finding God in the Wilderness. And tonight we're going to be looking at a passage of scripture from Exodus 15, 16, and 17. And the context of that story comes on the heels of one of the most miraculous things that's ever happened. God delivered his people out of Egypt. They crossed the Red Sea. And when they get on the other side of the Red Sea in chapter 15 of Exodus, they break out into song. There's this great rejoicing. I mean, it is a full-on worship service. Miriam even gets the tambourine out and is playing the tambourine. And so it's celebratory. It's great. It is a high moment. 3 days later, they travel into the wilderness and things have turned. And they are no longer singing, they are complaining. And so tonight we want to look at how the wilderness reveals what's on the inside, but also how it has this shaping influence on our lives and the trajectory of not only who we are, but who we're becoming. I remember when I first started dating Jennifer, that I went over to her house and her mom had asked me a question. She said, "Wes, do you drink tea?" I said, "Yeah." In my mind, I was thinking it's the sugary water stuff that you get at Bojangles. But she came back with hot tea, and I was pretty unfamiliar with hot tea. It was just not something that we drank at the house very much. But I faked it, and now I really like it. The thing about tea is that the hot water draws out what's on the inside. Sometimes you'll hear people talk about how a situation caused them to respond the way they did. People who struggle with anger will often say, "Well, he made me so angry," or "I was fine until she did that, and then she just made me furious." But the truth is, circumstances don't really make us anything. They just reveal what's already there. Just like tea. The hot water doesn't put the color into the bag. The color of the tea is already there. The hot water just draws it out. It reveals it. So today we'll look at 3 successive scriptures that reveal the heart of the people of Israel. And while their circumstances didn't cause them to complain, it certainly revealed what was on the inside. So tonight we're going to look at what's being revealed in the wilderness. Last week we looked at how the children of Israel, while they were in the wilderness, they complained about the manna, and I want us to see that from this week's study that this is not a one-time thing for them. This is a reoccurring theme for them. And we'll see this in 3 stories back to back to back. And first of all, in Exodus chapter 15, and then in Exodus chapter 16, and then Exodus chapter 17. And finally, we'll look at our own lives to see if these themes are showing up there as well. And under each of those chapters, we'll look at 4 headings: the reality of their circumstances, the response to those circumstances, and then what's revealed about them, and then ultimately what's revealed about God. So the reality for them was that they went 3 days without water in a very tough environment. And after 3 days, they finally do find water, but bad news, it's undrinkable, and so they lose it. They complain, thus revealing that they don't trust God. However, what we learn about God is that he's a trustworthy provider, and he turns this undrinkable, bitter water into sweet, delicious water. Our next story takes place in the very next chapter, in Exodus chapter 16. And again, we're going to look at the reality of those circumstances and how they respond to them. And then what does it reveal about what's on the inside of them, and what does it reveal about who God is? The problem in Exodus 16 is that they have no food, no bread. And this time when they don't have any bread, again, they lose it. They say, "We had meat pots in Egypt." So they complain and they lose it, but God provides food for them, miracle bread from heaven and quail, and God shows that he's trustworthy. Our next story takes place in the very next chapter, Exodus chapter 17. This time they find themselves in a very difficult circumstance again, and I bet you can guess how it goes. Same pattern. So for the second time, they find themselves without water again. Very real need. So they come to Moses, and again, they lose it. And this time, Moses is about to lose it. The people don't trust God. However, God provides for them. He tells Moses to strike the rock, and when he does, water gushes from the rock.
Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4, that they drank from the spiritual rock that accompanied them, and that rock was Christ. The way that God shows that he will provide for us is that he sent his very own son. Romans 8:32 says, "He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things?" Here's a God who provides, and he provides for our deepest needs. Our neighbors hung up this cross recently for Holy Week, and it's a great reminder to us during this time that God is providing for us. If he provides for our deepest needs, then he'll meet every other need that we face.
One more story, and that is fast forwarding to present day. What is our circumstance and how do we respond? And what does that reveal about us? And ultimately, what does it reveal about our God? Today, our reality is that we find ourselves in a very difficult setting. COVID-19 has brought a global pandemic. Now, how we respond is a question. Will we respond with complaining and bitterness, or will we respond with faith in our God? And how we respond will reveal a great deal about who we are. What's not in question is that God will reveal that he is again a trustworthy provider for his children.